President Mahama's acceptance of a Ford gift from a Burkinabe contractor, and for which MPs were recalled, came to an end in less than 15 minutes, with the Speaker dismissing the motion. The minority is, however, not letting it go without a fight. People's National Convention also weighs in on what it describes as the grand promises of the New Patriotic Party, with its own promise to build an airport for each border town. Now, at least 200 wannabe Hajj pilgrims left stranded at the Hajj village in Accra, unable to make the trip this year.
And in business, Ghana Export Promotion Authority receives $2.5 billion in revenue as earnings from non-traditional exports go up for 2015.
My name is Israel Lion. Joy News Prime is also available across Europe on ABN Television and on DSTV and GoTV. Stay tuned. Now, the minority in Parliament says it is exploring other avenues to help it unravel the circumstances under which President Mahama accepted a Ford vehicle as a gift from a Burkinabe contractor. This was after a move to cause a parliamentary probe into the matter was shot down in a recalled house on Thursday. Though a showdown between the two sides had been anticipated, it came down to a 12-minute sitting during which the Speaker was the only one who had the floor. Elder Duajao cited constitutional provisions and the Supreme Court decision to support his ruling, contending the matter was already being investigated by another constitutional body. He first laid out the request tabled by the minority in the motion.
A, whether the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, received a Ford Expedition vehicle from a Burkinabe contractor. B, whether the Ford Expedition vehicle received by the President infringes any law of Ghana. C, whether the Ford Expedition vehicle donated to the President infringes his own code of conduct. And D, any other matter relevant to the above subject, and quote, "All members, upon receipt of this motion, I sought to satisfy myself to whether this matter is actually under investigation before the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice." The Commission, in his response, indicated that it has received 3 separate complaints on the gift of Ford Expedition vehicle from that listed, and that it was investigating the matter. 1, Convention People's Party National Youth League. 2, Nana Addo Ofori, a private citizen. And 3, Progressive People's Party. After carefully studying the correspondence from the Shraj, I have come to the conclusion that the matter at issue here is not different in material particular from the matter under investigation by the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice.
Though the Speaker said he could have dismissed the motion without recalling MPs from recess, he was compelled to do so because of the way the motion was couched.
Standing Order 79.4 also provides as follows: every notice shall be submitted to Mr. Speaker, who shall direct that it be printed in its original terms, or with such amendments as he shall direct, or that it be returned to the member submitting it as being inadmissible. I am therefore unable to admit this motion. I hereby direct the clerk to return the motion to the member in whose name it stands, in line with Standing Order 79.4. Other members, since this is the matter that has brought us here, I join the House Senate here. Thank you.
Now, the nature of the proceedings meant that no one else had the opportunity to speak. The minority, having been denied that opportunity to be heard, called a news conference to state their case, insisting Parliament, as one of the three arms of government, could not be subservient to an administrative body.
Except that Article 296 of the Constitution provides that in the application of such powers, the Speaker should be regulated to be within the confines of the Constitution. It should not be a whimsical display of power and indeed arrogance. And then in this, what I've described as a very hoodlum ruling, the Speaker tells us and tells Parliament, the country, and indeed the entire world that Parliament, in exercising our oversight responsibilities, should stall our activities and subordinate ourselves to the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, an administrative body, an arm of government, should subordinate ourselves to SHRAC because it involves an issue of corruption. And he says that it's a ruling from the Supreme Court. His understanding of the Supreme Court's ruling. Indeed, if you have to follow the Speaker, it will mean that the recent case against some judges, which also involve corruption, ought to have gone to Supreme Court, ought to have gone to SHRAC, and not the courts. What kind of ruling is this? Listen, colleagues, the intention of what we had submitted before the Speaker was to enable us discuss without any emotions, be very dispassionate about the exercise of our oversight responsibilities. And I guess for the avoidance of doubt, I would want to take us through what we intended to do. And thereafter, I may give you copies. Because the Speaker says to us that he is vested with the power to accept a motion or a proposal to him on the face of the submission. Two, that he could accept subject to some amendments. That is also true. Three, that he could also reject the proposal. That is also true. Except that conventions and practice and even common sense dictate that in applying yourself to any of these parts, you should have some engagement with the person submitting the proposal to you. I think that is commonsensical, and that is the practice of any established parliament. That the Speaker decided to act otherwise, he can explain himself.
Now, the MP for Buakasa, Samuel Atachi, and later on the poll said the minority would explore their options. But law lecturer at the Central University, Yao Pong, he joins me over the telephone right now for some analysis on this issue. Good evening to you, lawyer.
Good evening.
All right, so we spoke about this and everybody else was anticipating a showdown. In the end, it ended up being a 12-minute session. Did you also anticipate that it was going to? Did you anticipate that it was going to go this way?
No, I give Parliament the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, good evening to your viewers and perhaps other listeners. But my point really is that I expected that the procedure that is at least known to me in court would have been applied in this situation as well. I mean, we all have similar proceedings. When a person files an application, we also call it a motion, as it is applicable. And then, since it's a motion, it has to be moved. If it is not moved, it is not heard. So when you move it, and even somebody else has the preliminary legal point or legal opinion, then the person will raise that, and the judge will have to determine the preliminary opinion before you are heard. I mean, this is like an ex parte application that has been heard by the trier of fact or the arbiter, from what we are hearing. But I have been looking at the case that the Honorable Speaker referred to, that is the Samuel Kujeta Blakwa, Biedomani Boama,
and Jacob Echebelamte,
and Co. versus Attorney General and the Honorable Tanka Obechebelamte. I am not very sure that it deals with the aspect that was referred to, deals with any other matter other than the issue of conflict of interest. In other words, the case specifically dealt with conflict of interest alone. In that case, what it means is that, in my view, 284 relates to the conduct of public officers in relation to conflict of interest. It does not relate to issues of corruption, abuse of power, which though SRAD has the power to investigate, but it does not have exclusive jurisdiction to investigate. Otherwise, no court can even hear issue of corruption or issue of breach of the rights of others if the person is a public officer. So I think we need to put that in perspective, that in that case, the Supreme Court said or held that when it comes to issues of conflict of interest by public officers, that is the only instance where SRAD has exclusive jurisdiction to deal with the matter. And so any matter other than conflict of interest in which a public official is involved is not the case, in my view, that SRAD alone has exclusive jurisdiction. As the Honorable Minority Leader rightly said, then when it comes to the issue of public officers, in this case maybe judges, then the same ruling, the same principle of law will hold. But that's not the case. That has been specifically provided for in the Constitution itself, and therefore we need to see under what circumstance is SRAD given exclusive jurisdiction. If the allegation relates to corruption, then it will not come under the 284 or Chapter 24 situation. In that case, though, SRAD can also investigate. Any other institution, including the court, can also investigate, and also maybe Parliament, because then the Public Accounts Committee, all that is to investigate allegations of corruption. So are we saying that that has also been given exclusive jurisdiction by SRAD just because SRAD has the jurisdiction to investigate instances of corruption or allegations of corruption or likelihood of corruption?
All right.
I do not think so.
Right. Now the minority is talking about exploring their options. What options are available to them?
Well, I'm expecting them to go to court because, I mean, these matters will also have a collateral effect, positive effect, in terms of developing the frontiers of the law. Other people have tested the law over time. And I think that it's important that in all these cases we test the law at the appropriate judicial forum. And so I would be happy to see someone go to court to challenge, first of all, the whether or not the conduct or the act or omission of the Speaker is consistent with the provision of the Constitution, whether or not Parliament itself, the act of hearing the motion. I heard Honorable Attachment say that it flies in the face of the normal rules that what we call the authorized party. Hear a party before you condemn him or before you give a ruling that will lead to a liability that he will suffer. So to the extent that he says that has not been done, I think it's a good ground to even get any appropriate judicial forum to determine the matter, and we will be better for it. I do not expect them to just take the lying down. And I think any citizen of Ghana may even go to court under Article 2 of the Constitution, for example, to find out whether or not the conduct of the Parliament, or in this case, the Speaker, is not inconsistent with or in contravention the provision of the Constitution, or whether or not it's not in breach of the rules of natural justice, the audio term passing rule in particular.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ya Opong. He's a law lecturer at the Central University. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but we have more stories coming up. Don't go away. National Chairman of the People's National Convention, Bernard Mona, has downplayed as unrealistic recent promises made by the New Patriotic Party. The leading opposition party, among others, says it will establish one factory in each district in Ghana, one dam for every village in the 3 regions in the north, and more recently, $1 million for each constituency. These promises for the PNC chairman have not been well thought through. Raymond Akwa has more in this report.
The criticisms of the NPP's promises for this year's election have mainly come from the governing National Democratic Congress. For some elements in the NDC, the one factory, one district, one dam, one village, and $1 million for each constituency are highfalutin and meant to only win votes. The NPP, however, maintains the naysayers will once again be proved wrong. The national chairman of the PNC, however, insists the promises made by the NPP have very little substance.
If you do rationalization of the factories, you realize that it is not every district that may have a factory. Okay. Some districts may have factories and some may not have. And that one factory, for instance, in a particular district will be able to tap into resources from some other district, depending on the type of factory. If you go and establish a Shea factory in the Nadoli-Kaleo district, you should be able to take Shea from Japa, which is a district. You should be able to get Shea from Dafiama Buse Isa. You should be able to take Shea from Laura.
So that policy is not realistic.
So I'm saying that why would you go establishing the same factory, except that you just want to create the kind of Ghana has all the money it requires. And I cite example. So between
I've seen the ministry's budgets.
No, let me
I get your point.
Let me tell you, in 1972 to 1975, when Achampong was in power, and he delivered what has become known as the Yentuya speech. That day Achampong delivered the speech, the IMF and the World Bank packed bag and baggage and left Ghana. Yeah. Ghana became food self-sufficient within a year. We were exporting over 30,000 tons of sugar. All the infrastructural development, including the stadia, go to all the districts in this country. They were constructed with money from Ghana and not borrowings.
Whether they will be fulfilled, however, may only be known after power has been secured. Raymond Akwa, Joy News.
Now, the founder and flag bearer of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, is lamenting the electorate's obsession with the two main political parties, the New Patriotic Party and the governing National Democratic Congress, who he says have not done much to advance Ghana's fortunes. He says though he has managed to build the best political structures in the country, Ghanaians are unlikely to appreciate it and would rather vote for the main parties. Briefing the media on the raging controversy over religion and politics, Mr. Ayariga chastised Ghanaians for voting for political parties and not leaders who can turn the country around.
Let our people understand that some of us are out to sacrifice our lives to save this nation. I don't need anything from the presidency. What I need is to empower you. I am already empowered by God. And that's why I said that all power comes from God. And if I am to become president, it's not you, but God. In Ghana, people vote political parties and don't vote leaders. If we have to look at the leadership qualities of every leader, things will change in Ghana. But because our party system is such that we vote political parties, so whoever is a leader of the NPP, they will vote. Whatever he says is good. Even when he sleeps and wake up and say, tomorrow is Sunday, they will all agree tomorrow is Sunday. The same thing with the NDC. Whoever is there, they will vote. Even if the policies are not helping our country, NDC share ye, then they will say ye. But Ghana share ye, woo, because we are suffering. We have to begin to learn to vote the right people and not the wrong party. But the presidency is not a do or die thing. Please. No. It's only every 4 years. If you don't win 4 years, you go again. Why are you worried? If Ghanaians reject you, they should give it to the one they think they can do it. If the person cannot do it, they will see. Why don't they have eyes? So why do you want to die? People to die for you to become president? No. It's not acceptable.
Mr. Ayaraga also touted his credentials as the #1 peace ambassador in Ghana, explaining that his jokes during the 2012 elections were part of his peace strategy.
I am #1 peace ambassador than even the whole entire peace council. Yes. In 2012, those of you who knew me very well, I preached peace throughout my campaign, more than the peace council itself. I made sure even cracking jokes was part of my peace message, but people just didn't understand it because it calmed tensions down. You need to know how to translate your message of peace to affect the lives of people. Cracking jokes is part of peace messages. If you don't know, it doesn't mean you're not serious, but it's part of sending the signal that let's live in peace and unity with one another. So if peace council is quiet and mute about something, does not mean that all of us should be quiet because they are the bodies supposed to do that. No. Politicians will even attack religious leaders. But most of the time you will see that because religious leaders have come out to openly campaign for another political party, thereby insulting another political party, that is when all these attacks come from. But if you don't do that as a religious leader, I don't think a politician is mad to just get up and start attacking you. No. Let's always find the root cause of it. Where is it coming from? If you don't say anything bad in the media against MPP, I don't think they will attack you. If you don't say anything bad against the NDC, I'm not sure they will just get up and start attacking your personality. Will they do that? No, they won't. So the pastors and Muslim scholars and religious leaders should mind their business, and nobody will attack them.
Also on the campaign trail, the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has announced that the party will establish a development authority that will be implementers of the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication program it announced earlier. He said every part of the country will be covered because 3 development authorities will be set up to cover that scope. Dr. Bawumia said the Northern Development Authority will take care of the 3 regions of the north. The Middle Development Authority will cater for the middle zone, while the Coastal Development Authority will take care of the coastal zone. He said all 3 authorities will report directly to the office of the president. Dr. Bawumia said the money for the program will be taken from the capital budget. He outlined these initiatives at a rally in Saboba in the northern region. He spoke in Dagbani.
I want to speak to a major policy initiative of Nana Addo.
Right, Martina Bugri joins me on the line to tell us more about Dr. Bawumia's campaign trip to the northern region. Good evening, Martina. First, tell us what the vice presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party was saying in Dagbani.
He says that there are too many poor people in the country. And so anytime they release the money, it doesn't get to the rural people. So when the MPP comes to power, what they would do is the money would get to the communities themselves, and they would decide what they want to be done for them. And he says that the money would not stay in the top. It's going to be a down top kind of system, where the people will have a say in what they want the government to do for them. And he says that with the 1 million for every constituency, he believes that every village community will have their share of the national cake.
Right, so what else has he been up to in the region?
They started this morning to Saboba, but they had to make a stop in Yendi because people had marched up as it seemed throughout his campaign for Nanado to address them. And he reiterated the policies the NPP has for Ghanaians when they come into power. They came to Saboba and went to the Saboba Chief Palace. Earlier on, there had been news reports that the Saboba Chief had endorsed the NDC presidential candidate. But today, when Nanado visited the palace, the chief denied that he endorsed the NDC presidential candidate. He told Nanado they would need schools, health posts, and other infrastructure and amenities if the MPP should win power, and they believe that he can deliver. They also visited the chief imam who prayed for Nanado and asked to continue to show the patience he's exhibited in the past 8 years, and he says that he knows his time would come. They finally convened at the Saboba Super where they addressed the rally. Currently, we are on our way to Palga where he will also visit the chief and then hold a rally as well.
All right, thank you very much, Martina Bogre, bringing us up to speed with the campaign of the New Patriotic Party. You're watching Joy News Prime. Still to come, former President John Ejekun Kufuor has been sharing his experiences as president. We'll get to hear what he's had to say. Now, hundreds of would-be pilgrims may not make it to Mecca this year with less than 48 hours for the takeoff of the last flight. This is because scores of them remain stranded at the Hajj village here in Accra. Joy News' Ernest Kujumen visited the village and filed the following report.
So I'm right here at the Hajj village at the Accra International Airport where our Muslim brothers and sisters are patiently waiting to be airlifted to Mecca. Now, we do know that the last flight will move on Saturday. However, there are hundreds of them still here who are stranded, some of who tell me their hopes of getting to Mecca is fast fading. We'll be finding out exactly what their situation is, what the problem has been or the challenge has been for them, what is in their way of being airlifted to Mecca. Some have been here for as long as 10 days. Others are coming all the way from Tamale, from Kumasi, and they've been spending the days here. This has also interestingly taken a political twist where some are accusing the Hajj board of facilitating the movement of some party people, some party supporters as well. Others are also calling for the dissolution of the Hajj board and asking government to take full control as far as the facilitation of the movement of Hajj pilgrims are concerned. Some are also demanding that their monies be refunded to them. They do no longer have interest in making the pilgrimage, and so we'll be hearing directly from them and we'll get a response from the Hajj board as well.
Here since last Tuesday. Some of us was here last Monday.
Who is from all the way from Tamale, and Tamale, exactly what is the situation? How long have you been here?
Okay, this is my 7 days here, and Tamale too, I spent about 5 days.
What information are you getting from the board?
Okay, the board, according to the board, they are saying that by the end of the last day, maybe we will get to the last day. But still, today we are hearing that this is the last day. Up to now, we are still 6 days.
Have you heard from the agent as well?
My agent is saying that it's from the board. So I went to the board and asked them. So I don't know which
I've been here for the past 11 days now from Gontan of Harrison from South constituency. And as at this now, as you see, people are just lying stranded. They don't know what is happening. Frankly speaking, I'm highly disappointed in the Hajj board because the chairman per se, it is his responsibility to come at least to come us down and tell us what is happening in the office. Sometimes they tell us that things hasn't come. the visas hasn't come. But we'll be shocked to hear that they are going for checking. We don't know where those visas are coming from.
Do you still have hopes of making it soon?
For now, some of us here are here to take the money from the passport. I think not because there is a delay in the passport. We would have even taken our monies and go because we don't actually know what is happening in their offices. So in fact, we are highly disappointed in them.
Information is coming from the authorities or whatsoever. We are calling on the authorities that they should, as quickly as possible, get another flight so that all the stranded people over here, can go and then perform their religious obligation.
We are here to get some responses to the issues raised. With me now is the Deputy Communications Director for the Hajj Board, Mohammed Amin Lamte, and he'll be giving us some responses. First of all, I understand the last flight is set to move on Friday, but we have hundreds of our Muslim brothers and sisters still here at the Hajj village. Their hopes of traveling is fast fading.
We've started a process for the past 2 weeks or so. We are still in the process. As you have said, we are anticipating the last flight probably by tomorrow, and because we have already concluded with the Schedule 11 flight that was meant to airlift the quota that we have for this year, 5,424. So far, over 5,000 Ghanaian world-based pilgrims are currently in Saudi Arabia. So we believe that this is a great achievement, and we are still working very, very hard to consolidate this achievement. Last minutes are always chaotic. Last minutes are always a moment where you have those that will not be fortunate to travel, an agent who actually collect money from people and couldn't really make it possible, not because of the afford, maybe because of some problems regards to documentation and what have you, would come out and show that pain and show that.
Are you saying that the delay in payment of the monies as far as their travels are concerned is the reason why we have this situation?
My brother, it is one of the key elements of some of these challenges, because if you don't pay on time, you render the Hajj board powerless, because the deadline was on the 15th of July, but because we cross-check our account and we realized that people have not paid, so we were pushed to the wall to sort of extend the date to 23rd, and the extension has really caused some of these challenges.
Allegations of the Hajj board facilitating the movement of party supporters through a protocol list. How do you respond to that?
That is very unfortunate, and I don't know why people want to, infuse politics into Hajj matters. That person you call a protocol, is he not a Muslim? Do you
Now, former President John Kufuor says he's certain his perseverance paid off, giving him the opportunity to serve as president. Sharing his experience as a president for 8 years, the former president said the political atmosphere in the country shaped his thoughts to become a leader and make a difference. Speaking to some selected youth at his residence as part of Joy FM's Thought Leadership program, he urged the youth to pursue what they believe in whilst remaining practical and realistic.
And it was a big shame. Ghana in 57 was a population of just 6 million people, and we had come into independence with a huge amount of reserves. Within 4 years, all the money had gone, and we were in a mess. So I saw this because it was just then I had my secondary education during that period, and so I said, no, we have to prepare ourselves for a long haul, which called for our preparing when we got the chance to make a difference. So the persistence and the perseverance you've described came from that background. A background which also witnessed one-party states. If you are not of that party, you are not allowed to talk. You talk, then you are hauled away to Nsawam detention. Some were there 5 years and longer without trial. So that wasn't governance. So this is where the strength came from. It was from the exposure to the difficulties of a young country struggling to establish itself as a nation. That's where again the missionary zeal I talked about came. You see the difficulties, you know that if you misstep, you might be done away with. But then, because you believe in yourself that given the chance you may be able to make a difference, that would keep you going against heavy odds. That was why, as you observed again, in '92 I tried to get my party's nomination. The party said no, not to worry. '96 I went forward. The same people who said no to '92 gave it to me, '96, to challenge Rawlings. And Rawlings was like a Superman then. He was declared winner. He said, don't worry. He signed the constitution that provided for only 2 terms. Let's see if he wouldn't step down after 2000. Fortunately, he stepped down for late President Mills to come, and thankfully Ghanaians gave it to me. So this is where the whole thing came. So it's nurturing yourself to pursue realistically and pragmatically the things that you see in your vision, that you believe given the chance you can help make a difference of. So those were the driving forces behind me.
You also challenge the youth to work towards developing Africa because there is no other way around that.
Unfortunately for us, we've been described as the last frontier to human development. When I say we, I'm talking of Africa. And truly we are lagging behind. So how does Africa rise to take its rightful place in the world community? Nobody will come to do it for us. We will have to do it, especially you, the youth. My generation is going off. There's another generation before you. But you may leapfrog, because with ICT, what my generation took, the period of time it took to get to where it got, you might use just a third or a quarter of that time to come up. So know the world around you and resolve that we are all helping to move Africa, including Ghana, forward to be at par with other peoples of the world.
You're watching Join This Prime. We're taking a break, after which we'll bring you international news.